Yesterday, I paid $9 for a cappuccino in an upscale coffee shop, and the exact same coffee, same beans, same milk, cost $5.20 at the DeVille around the corner. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't ask the barista to justify the price, I didn't negotiate, and I didn't leave a bad review saying too expensive. I just paid it. Because in that moment, in that space, with that atmosphere, it felt worth the $9. The coffee didn't change, the context did. And that's exactly what's happening with your coaching prices right now. Recently, a coach invested $7,500 to work with me for 12 weeks. And you know what's interesting? He implemented faster, showed up to every single call prepared, and got better results than coaches who paid me $3,000 for the exact same program. Most coaches think higher prices scare clients away, but the truth is your price is either creating belief in your offer or destroying it before you even talk to the prospect on a call. And if you don't understand the psychology behind this, you'll keep undercharging, over-explaining, and wondering why the clients who do sign up don't take action. Both of these problems will cost you the high-ticket clients you actually want to work with. And I've helped over 200 coaches scale to 6 and 7 figures, and I can tell you, the coaches making $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 or more each and every month, they're not better coaches. They just understand one thing about pricing that most don't. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use price to create belief and pre-sell your coaching so that you never have to justify your value again. And by the end, you'll know the exact pricing strategy that turns skeptical prospects into committed clients who actually get results. Here's where most coaches get pricing completely wrong. They think people look at the value of their coaching and then compare it to the price and decide if it's worth it. But that's not how the human brain actually works. What really happens is people see your price first and then their brain constructs the value to match it. We try to build value the other way around in sales, but either way, they make an assumption based on the price. And Stanford did a research study where they had two groups of people taste the exact same wine. They were both told different prices, and the higher priced wine didn't just seem better to them, their brain actually lit up in the pleasure and reward centers as if the experience itself had changed. The wine was identical, but the price changed how they experienced it. This is called price quality bias, and it's happening with your coaching business right now, whether you realize it or not. So when someone sees you charge $5,000 versus $500, their brain makes a quiet assumption. If it costs more, it must be better. And here's what most coaches miss. You know the serious clients, the ones who can actually afford the high-ticket coaching that you sell? They understand this instinctively. They're not asking, why is this expensive? What they're really deciding is, do I believe this is supposed to be expensive? Price isn't being judged. You are. If you charge $500 for a transformation that should cost $5,000, they don't think, what a great deal, I'm getting away with murder. They think, what's wrong with this? I know it sounds counterintuitive, but there's a problem. When coaches don't understand this psychology, they make 3 critical mistakes that destroy their ability to sign high-ticket clients. And mistake number 1 is using jargon where it's not necessary. I see coaches say things like, I optimize your client acquisition funnel to improve ROI and conversion metrics across multiple touch points. But no one outside the marketing world talks like that. What you mean is I help you get more clients. And the moment you use language that your prospect doesn't use in an everyday conversation, you create distance, and distance kills trust. High-ticket clients, they want to feel understood. They don't want to be impressed by your vocabulary. And you might do this thing, that might be what you do. But when you explain it like that, out of context, it comes across as insecurity. Mistake number 2 is over-explaining. This is the big one. Coaches think if they just list every module, every bonus call, every template, every single PDF people get, every resource, if they just explain enough, the prospect will finally see the value. But here's what actually happens. The more you explain, the more you sound like you're defending the price. And the moment you defend your price, you've admitted it needs defending. You've probably seen people charging more than you, making more than you, who seem to deliver less. This is why. So I had a client who was charging $1,500 for a 12-week business coaching program. On sales calls, she'd spend 20 minutes walking people through every single week, every single deliverable, every single check-in, every single PDF and resource, and her close rate was around 15%. I told her to stop going through every little detail with a fine-tooth comb. Just state the transformation, the main components, and the price. That's it. And her close rate jumped to 35% the next month. Why? Because when you over-explain, you signal insecurity. And prospects, they can smell that a mile away. Mistake number 3 is listing extensive credentials when they're not needed. I've been coaching for 15 years. I have certifications in NLP, hypnotherapy, and positive psychology. I've worked with over 300 clients. Unless the prospect specifically asks, leading with these credentials is just noise. What they actually care about is, can you get me the result I want? Your proof should be the client transformations, not your resume. So if you can't use this jargon, you can't over-explain, and you can't unnecessarily lead on credentials that don't add any value in the context, what do you actually do? Well, you let your transformation and your price do the work. I had a client, Max, who was charging $100 per hour for energy healing coaching. He was fully booked, around 30 hours a month, making $3,000 a month. But in between marketing, social media, client delivery, and everything else in the business, he was just burnt out. The clients at $100, they wouldn't do the work. They would cancel sessions, or they'd have one session and think they could do it all on their own. And inevitably, they didn't get the result. So I told him to raise his price to $2,500 and sell the transformation. Don't sell single calls. Sell a transformation, not just the call itself and what they were going to cover step by step. Sell the overall transformation, the number of calls in there. And yes, they got less calls than what was $2,500. So effectively, the price was higher. And he thought this was insane. And he thought that he'd lose all his clients. And he did lose a lot of them. But he lost the $100 clients and gained the $2,500 ones. The clients who committed at $2,500, they showed up differently. They implemented and they followed through. They asked better questions, and they're the ones who got long-lasting results. And as for Max, within 30 days, he went from $3,000 a month to a $13,000 a month. And then he went on to sign 16 $2,500 clients in a single week. Same coaching, same Max, different price and different focus on the transformation, not the features. The higher price didn't make him less approachable. It made him more credible. Because here's the truth, like it or not, when people pay more, they pay attention. You've experienced this yourself. If you buy a $20 course, you might never open it. But if you invest $5,000 in a coaching program, you're showing up to every call. I do the same thing. I'm wearing a watch right now, $5,000 on the watch. I take care of it a lot more than I do my G-Shock. So it's not just about the money. It's about what the price signals to the brain. Now here's the part that most coaches struggle with. But if I do this, Kay, people will just tell me my program's too expensive. Well, that shouldn't be happening if you financially qualify beforehand. But if someone still raises concerns, you simply acknowledge it. You don't defend it. Yes, we are expensive. Why do you think that is? Your job isn't to convince everyone. Your job is to work with the people who see the value and can afford the investment. Because you can either charge low and serve the masses, or you can serve the few, charge high and really help them get a transformation by giving all your energy and resources to them. By definition, if you want a premium luxury product, you have to be unaffordable to the masses. And if someone's objection is purely price, then they're not your client. You either haven't qualified correctly or you haven't built enough value beforehand. Or they're just not the right fit. That's okay. Because when you try and discount and try and make it work for someone who can't afford you, they end up doing less and you end up feeling cheated and you pour less into it. And as a result, they end up getting less results. So here's what I want you to understand. The number you charge doesn't just tell people what to pay. It tells them how to think about you. If you charge $500, they think this is a side project. If you charge $5,000, they think this is a serious investment in my business. Same coaching, same belief. And sometimes, most of the time actually, the only thing standing between why is this so expensive and this must be excellent is the price itself. You don't need more credentials. You don't need a longer sales page. You don't need to explain harder. You need to charge what your transformation is actually worth, state it with confidence, and let the prospect decide. Because the coaches who win at high ticket, they aren't the ones with the best explanations. They're the ones who feel like they never needed to explain in the first place. Now, if you're a coach and if you want help structuring your high ticket offer that actually sells consistently at $3,000 to $10,000 without long sales calls or over explaining, I work with a handful of coaches each and every month to install exactly that. We help you build the offer, the messaging, the system that pre-sells people before they ever talk to you, and the sales system as well. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, there's a link below. Book a time, we'll have a chat, and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. If not, no worries. Just take what I shared here and actually apply it. And you know the drill. Like, subscribe, binge all my other content, and I'll see you in the next video.